my best advice on taking things slow and letting them develop. So I'll answer that in two parts. The first part is you must allow your relationships to develop as naturally and organically as possible. It doesn't mean that your take on relationship is you are haphazard about it. You have lack of control. What I mean by that is I want you to recognize a few things. Number one is be who you are. Don't be who you're not. Don't pretend, even especially at the outset, don't pretend to be someone you're not. Don't pretend to provide something you're not prepared to provide or engage on or facilitate in the relationship. Don't be open. Don't say you're going to be open if you're not open. Don't say you're going to be monogamous if you're not monogamous. Set expectations fantastically. Number two is communicate often what you'd like, what's your intention, what your goals, and what you want. Communicate them often, sit down with them from time to time, and communicate what you'd like. Manage expectations in your relationships. There are three aspects of expectation management. Manage what you can expect of yourself, or you can even communicate with them, hey baby, or hey, whatever the name is, this is what I'm expecting of myself. You could even begin there, be quite vulnerable. The second aspect of expectation management is managing what you can expect of them. Here's what I can expect of you, sweetie. Here's what I can expect of you, baby. From what we've talked about, here's what I can expect of you. The third aspect of expectation management is managing what they can expect of you. This is absolutely critical, and it minimizes their ever being disappointed in you as a person. So you got that now? Communicate what you'd like, what your intentions are, what you will provide, will not provide, what your goals, intentions, your boundaries are, what you like and what you want, what your future goals and visions are. And then sit down with them and communicate expectations, and communicate expectations often about as many things as possible. This allows them to be comfortable with you and know what to expect, because people love to know what they can expect. They love to manage expectations. The third thing I want you to consider, third idea of this first aspect, is allow them, give them the platform to be themselves. It's very hard to develop a relationship organically and naturally, and allowing that and facilitating that. The word facilitating is absolutely key. Is such a crucial information. Facilitating space, facilitating the environment, creating the environment so the person in front of you can be themselves. When the person cannot be themselves, how can you actually truly know your relationship is developing organically or naturally, rather than coerced or forced or pretense? A pretend relationship is one of the worst. The second aspect of this question that I'd like to answer is the notion taking things slow. And taking things slow is likely different for everybody. Slow for me is non-existent, because what I would encourage you to do is don't see it as taking it slow, and see it as, is this developing unnaturally? Is this relationship developing unorganically, unnaturally, and unnaturally fast? At which point you stop and you revisit and you introspect, you examine yourself from the inside, and circumspect, examine yourself from the outside, and get their input on the things that you'd like and the things that you want and the things that they can expect. This will slow things down. And to slow things down, the idea of a slow relationship is just completely different to every person. But the important bit is to allow it to develop naturally. Facilitating the space, facilitating them, allowing them to be the person they are non-judgmentally, and communicating critically, communicating your expectations, what they can expect of you, what you can expect of them, and maybe sharing what you expect of yourself even. Facilitating that, managing expectations, sitting down and communicating your goals, and communicating them often. And this will slow things down. This communication is critical. So the person, because you imagine, you have, we humans tend to imagine that what we think is true, because it's the only thing that's true in our brain, is the same thing for the people around us, when in fact, every single person is different. And in fact, more often than not, the people you run into, the people you surround yourself with, more often than not, are radically different from you. Even your siblings, whom you've grown up with all your life, are completely different from you. So I want you to take that into account. My best advice on taking things slowly is to not see it as taking it slowly, but rather asking yourself, is this developing unnaturally? Is this developing unorganically? And is it developing too fast where I need to step back, revisit the relationship, communicate expectations, communicate goals, communicate intentions. If you are expecting to be with somebody who you'd like to marry, for example, who you'd like to be monogamous with, or whom you'd like to be open, in an open relationships with, so you communicate with them precisely that. If you begin to notice that they are not in alignment with you any longer, for example, they are more inclined to an open relationship when really you'd not like that, you'd rather have a monogamous and maybe even perhaps getting married, or maybe even getting married in an open relationship, you must communicate that, stop that, and say, I would like to revisit our relationship, and I'm just thinking to myself, and I'd like your input on this, baby. What I'd like and what I see for myself in the future is somebody who I can, if you're looking for a monogamous relationship, someone who I can be monogamous with, someone who I can perhaps marry maybe some years down the line. What do you think about that? What is your perspective on relationships? Now, you may not need to communicate this at the outset, but you must communicate this down the line. And some versions of that. If you're in an open relationship or you like an open marriage, then communicate that. Hey, baby, just so you know. Now, all of this, especially when someone you imagine is expecting to be open, when you didn't communicate, you wanted to be open, you must communicate that. Or most especially because it's traditionally radical, that if you want an open relationship, you must communicate that at the outset. In fact, for myself, within 5 minutes, they know exactly who I am and exactly what I am looking for. So visit those things.